Farmer Jason here at Wayford Farm. In the last video that we did, I talked about how we went through all of the fruits and everything else. And what today I'm going to show you is we are working on this. This is our harrow. And I mentioned in the last video, but I didn't go into great detail. And what happens is we plow, but when you plow, it makes it very rough. And we'll show you this when we actually do it. This machine was wearing out. What it has is it's called a harrow. It's a Perfecto 2 harrow. And it has these tines. And what happens is you put this down and these actually go through the soil. And what they do is they break up any lumps and they level it out. And then it uses these pads in the back to flatten it. And then these roll and do it. But all the bearings were shot, everything was shot. And so this kind of shows, you want to grab one of the other feet too. So this was one of the shoes. And you can see this compared to the new shoe, which is gonna be way longer. So on this is the new one. This was what was left on some of them. So you can see how the ground, going through the ground, wears them out really bad. And then what happened was some of them, we didn't change the shoes often enough and literally wore the shoe all the way off. And now there's not even a bolt hole to go through. There should be a bolt hole at the bottom of it. You can see this one we almost wore down to where there wasn't any bolt hole left. This one we're gonna keep as a spare. And you can see the brand new ones out here. We'll get up underneath this machine and you can see how they have a lot of room to go. So we've been replacing these. I'm gonna show you Joe putting on one with the air wrench here. These bolts all take a lot of turning and it's a lot of getting in here. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna show you how these go together. So this is our bracket. And what we had to do is we had to tear all the old ones out with the old one. Now this is one of the ones that was older that we reused because it was in good shape, but 19 out of the 25 were not in good shape. So we had to do these, we bent the brackets back. You know, when you're going through all this dirt and the fields, it's really rough on equipment. It just beats it up. And so then the bolt goes in the front and you can see it drops down through there. And then the trick for us is we have to keep everything tight to where this, because what happens is we need to keep that bolt tight in the front and then this tight in the back. We line up with our lines and I'll show you why that's important very shortly. And then Joe puts on the wrench on the top and the air wrench goes underneath. And we want to make it just tight enough that it doesn't pull everything out of alignment. Then we do the final tightening with 2 wrenches by hand. I hold on the thing to make sure it doesn't move. And then Joe gets the wrench on the top and the bottom. And we tighten them up. And they have to be really tight or else what will happen is they will break in the field and they'll roll up underneath on us. So it takes a lot of power to get it done. We're working on our beach bodies here today. Is what we're doing. We're working on the beach bodies, trying to get big biceps for going to the beach this summer, which hopefully we can all go to the beach this summer, but that's a whole nother topic. So that's what we've been doing is we tore everything off. Now we're putting it back together. And then we'll put these back on and the rollers back on here shortly. So that's what we're doing, one after another. Now the reason that we made those marks on it, and the reason that's important, is if you look from the back here, we're going through the dirt, so you want all of these staggered. So see when I'm standing right behind, see how they're all offset from each other to where we're covering 100% of the field without one running right after another. So what that does is it levels out everywhere, breaks up all the clumps, and then these back things will flatten the dirt, and then these will roll out any minor little bumps that are left. So that's the game we're playing. We've been playing with this thing on and off because we had to go get parts twice. So Joe's been to Belleville and to John Deere down in Center Hall to get parts. And so we've been running around getting parts, putting it all back together, and that's where we're at. So that's how this works. All right, now we had talked about all the equipment we fixed this winter, and finally we showed this a section where we were working on this. We finally got it done. This is our harrow, and we've been it took us like 2 weeks because we ripped off all of these tines. We ripped off all of them, we put them back on. we welded and fixed these back parts, and we put new bearings. And a bearing is the part that makes it spin around. There's a bearing in there that's attached to a shaft, and then there's a part that's attached to the shaft, and then there's a part that's attached to the machine. And what the bearing does is it allows that to spin freely, so that way it does not destroy the machine or the metal parts. And so we got all 3 rollers back on, all of our paddles back on, and all of our tines on. And so we're very excited. It took a lot of work, a lot of bolts, a lot of agony, but that's what life is. We rebuilt this thing so it should be as good as the day it was new. And so, except for a paint job, but that's not that important. And so we're gonna take it out and give it a quick little spin. All right, here we are at the field. We plowed this about a week ago, give it some time for the rain and cold to work down the soil a little bit. And we have our harrow behind us. Joe's coming. He's gonna tape us going forward. And so it's always nerve-wracking when you do this for the first time, because you never know if something you put together is gonna fall apart. To be brutally honest, you hope you did everything right, but you don't know until you try it. So we're gonna try it today. We don't need to harrow this down quite yet. We're not quite ready to plant corn. It's still probably gonna be another 10 days till we plant corn. But Joe Quick, musician and now farmer, is gonna tape us going forward. So all of our work on this machine paid off. Joe and I put a lot of hours into this machine, getting all of these things back and attached and running good, only for it to go in the dirt and get destroyed again. So there is some irony to all of that. But you can look back at the soil, and what it's done is it took this soil that was pretty much unplantable, where it's chunky and it's hard, and you know, it's going to be hard for things to both the planter to go through it and for the stuff to grow in that. And in just one pass, normally I do 2, it's made the dirt, it's broken up some of those clumps and made the dirt a lot softer, to where now it's gonna be broken down a lot more. And so we'll run 1 pass over this and then do a 2nd pass. And I think with all of the additions we made, in a single pass, I've not had the harrow do this good of a job in years. So well worth the time, just a lot of work, but that's what farming's all about. We'll look forward to seeing you guys next time.